Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. What you're looking at here is an oldie but a goodie. This is an 1871/1888 Dutch Beaumont. This was the standard infantry rifle that was in the hands of the Netherlands forces at the beginning of World War I. Yes, it's totally obsolete. Yes, it was totally unprepared for the coming of the Germans, but it was what they had at the time. In 1871, this came out. This is in it's 11.3 by 50 or 54, I forget, cartridge, and it's an old world black powder thing. This can shoot smokeless, light loads, extremely light loads. But it's really designed for black powder. It was originally made as a single shot, like most of these were. This one, well, what's beautiful about it is it still has some of the cartouches on the stock. It's all here. It's not taken apart for parts or something. And it's, well, this is it. As I said, it was originally a single shot. Well, they had to figure out a way of changing a single shot into a new bolt action repeater. And first of all, let me show you something. Can you see the bolt on this? Let me change the camera just a scotch, because this is interesting. This big bulbous bolt handle actually comes apart, and it has a leaf spring inside it. That spring is the actual mainspring of the rifle. It is a bizarre design. They were looking around for a way of converting this from a single shot to a multi-shot rifle, and they came across a guy named Giuseppe Vitelli, and he was in Italy, and he had been the one who designed the magazine that was used on the Vetterli/Vitelli, which was a conversion of the Swiss, originally Swiss Vetterli, to use a multi-shot magazine. And this is the magazine on it. The Vitelli magazine, I happen to have a spare. This is a spare. If this one breaks, I could always install this one. I saw this on eBay and I thought, gotta have it. I mean, this is not exactly a household item. And I picked it up. It is just beautifully machined. It's this holds 4 rounds of those big 40, 41 caliber black powder massive rounds that were very popular. Remington used them in the rolling blocks. I think the Spanish had it. Well, they had a Remington rolling block, come to think of it. It was used, well, like the Vitelli used it. The Vetterli. This thing used it. Heck, we used it basically, anything between the 45 and 50, 70 or 50 90s that were used by the North, well, by the Union, are basically the same cartridge. The early metallic cartridges. I mean, by the way, this was the first metallic Army cartridge rifle introduced in Europe. All the others at the time were front stuffers or breech-loading paper cartridge rifles. This was the first metallic cartridge rifle. So it was, well, before this, the Remingtons went to France for the Franco-Prussian War, back when Paris was under siege, and they would buy anything and everything they could get their hands on. As I recall, after the war, the French took all of those and gave them over to their colonial forces in Africa. Same thing that the Dutch did, by the way. All of the Beaumonts were converted to this Vitelli magazine, except the ones that were in the French the Belgian Congo, in the colonies there. They kept the original Beaumonts that they had, single shots. It was just too pricey to upgrade theirs as well, I guess. But it's a beautiful rifle. This has a few problems, some distinct problems. For one, let me see if I can get it around here. Oh boy. I don't know if it's easy to see, but there's a crack in the stock right here. And there's another one here that's been repaired. And it does have some cartouches on the stock here and here. They're very, very faint, very hard to see. It has the magazine, and they're all marked U. I don't know why, but they're all marked U. There's a U here, here, here. And it's where is it? Let me get over here where I can see. Ooh. Now, this is a long, long rifle. But let me find it. Somewhere on here is the serial number. Oh, it's on, oops, sorry. On this side, underneath the bull handle here, it says the serial number and 1875. This particular rifle was made in 1875. I picked it up at I think it was at a gun show, and the guy said, "Oh, that's not a real rifle. That's an old one." So I said, "But it's bolt action and it's cartridge fed." And he said, "Doesn't matter. It's definitely pre-1898." So I got it relatively cheap because it was there was no paperwork to fill out or anything. I fired this most recently 5 years ago in 2018 on the 100th year anniversary of the war to end all wars. As I said, Belgium, by the way, was a neutral in that war. They were a neutral. They did not want to participate at all. But the Germans had another idea, and they were going to attack France through Belgium. So they marched their troops through Belgium. Well, the tiny and plucky little Belgian army grabbed their Beaumonts and did their damnedest to defend their homeland. And because of that, well, the British joined the fray, and it became a world war. That was an awful time to be Dutch. It's an interesting rifle. It has a storied history, and it's a brute to shoot, by the way. By the way, making cartridges for this, you can make them. You start off with 50-90 brass, trim it to length, then you use a 8mm label die to neck the cartridge down a wee bit. Then load in 45-70 bullets. That's what I had. I could cast those. You use a 45 long Colt die to bell the mouth slightly. Insert it, and then use that the 45 long Colt seating die to seat it in place. You better patch that that bullet with lard or beeswax or something, because it's going to be a mother to clean up and to keep it lubed if you shoot multiple rounds. I've never shot multiple rounds out of this. As I said, in 2018 I shot one round through it. And I did a video about it. It's on my list. I reprinted it recently. So you look at the 11th day hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, I think is what I called it. But I shot off a 1912 Steyr-Hahn pistol and a Beaumont rifle. Sort of a tribute to both sides in that awful conflict. You know, that a lot of people say that World War II, more people died than any other war. Well, more humans did, especially if you count the Holocaust. But in terms of military casualties, World War I tops it takes the cake. It was a horrific, awful war. It doesn't matter what side you were on or which belligerent you were part of. You know, you got hammered from South Africa to the Alps, from England to Russia. Everybody suffered, and the entire map of Europe was changed. The great houses collapsed, and it's I think there's only like 2 or 3 aristocracy kingships that are left from before then, and there were many, many more before. But you know, fortunes of war. Anyway, this is the 1871/88 Dutch Beaumont. It's not a rifle I would take out hunting. Well, it's not one that I would use to defend the homestead, unless sore pressed. I've got 8 rounds left for it. Loading those 50-90s with this stuff, you break a lot of pieces of brass doing it, and then you end up with some that are, well, I've got 8 of them. I've got 8 usable rounds. I used to leave 4 of them in here because it's got a magazine cutoff, but that's a little iffy because relatives might find this and kids might do something naughty, so I leave it unloaded. Anyway, that's about all I got to say. Happy trails.